Hey guys, today we're going to be working on this B-pillar, kind of finalize things. And I think a lot of you have been waiting to see how this is going to turn out. Welcome to Envision Prototypes, I'm Nick. So I tried to explain in previous videos, I wasn't sure if I was too clear, but what I want to do is basically have it appear as though we have a hardtop, no post, but with a post. So we have to take this post, narrow it down, basically take the outside pieces off, push it in so that we can have, pretend this is two pieces of glass, the back one and the front one. I know they're not the right shape, but basically have the front or the rear glass come forward like that, and then this part of the glass, which is part of the door, is going to come in and seal right there, up inside. This obviously has to be up here, but come in for a 1/4 inch flush fit. I mentioned this car is a unibody, doesn't have a full length frame, so we need all the strength we can get to keep the torsional rigidity of the chassis. So that's a big word, torsional. So that's basically going to look like that and like that. And for that to happen, this post has to be chopped off on those lines and moved inward. We're not going to have any whoop-de-whoops here, curvatures and all that stuff. It's going to go seamlessly from front to back, same feature. And to accomplish that, we're going to cannibalize these pillars. This radius here happens to coincide to this radius up here. Same profile, amazing. And the back of the other door, this is the passenger side door. This radius this piece that used to sit here, this radius actually matches that radius right there. So rather than form all this up and then throw these pieces out, I'm just going to take, I've already taken, and start cutting them up to use for our window opening on this side. I'm going to get the zip blade out, chop this one up in such a way that I keep this little bead here so we can replace the material up at the top. And then this one here, once this is cut out, will get welded in down there. And we're going to weld it in one piece. So basically we're going to close the door like that, clamp this in place, clamp everything, all the pieces in, weld them together, and then make the cut where we need to once we figure out where the cut line for the glass is going to be. We've gotten the door latches already hooked up and working, so that's all good. And we have to basically take this here and also create a structural piece. Move this web that's here inward, picked up the top, so we're not having the top that flops around. I mentioned a lot of guys, if they do a hardtop conversion, they'll take the top of the door, cut it off through here somewhere, make that pretty, take this part and just weld it to the top of the roof. Problem is, when the glass goes up inside, you can't open the door unless you have some electronics to drop the glass about 1/2 inch, then you can open the door. Our timetable, if we hope to have this done for the summer, doesn't allow for all those fancy doodads. So I'm going to keep things a bit simpler, keep that as part of the door in that position, have a reinforced post here that'll have a seal, of course, so the glass runs on a felt type of seal, and it'll simplify things. So it's going to work out quite well. When you look down the car from a distance, you're going to see a nice glass finish from front to back. So I've never seen it done this way before. There's probably a reason why guys didn't do it. Who knows? We're going to try it. If it doesn't work out, there's always the option of cutting it out entirely or finding another 51 Ford and replacing all these pieces. And then we'll have kind of what we have now. But let's be a little bit courageous, see what happens when we chop that out. So I'm going to take and have the car hold this post for me while I cut out this piece we need. Then I'll take and go ahead and chop out the perimeter, and we'll go from there. That works nice. Oh, by the way, check out what I found. You can tell this car's been sitting for a long time. We found a whole bunch of this wasp nest up inside the drip rail. So that's kind of what was burning as well earlier. So with all that cut out, we're going to gain a few horsepower. Less weight, right? Is that how it works? So 35.321 hours later, we have this post established with a template that we're creating to cap it from the outside. That's going to work out quite well. Right there, a little bit down. The cardboard's kind of all over the place. So we're going to transfer it to some sheet metal, some 16 gauge. We need some strength in here anyway, so we'll develop this piece out of sheet metal, get this installed, and straighten up this line. I'm not sure if you guys can see it over there. That stays, kind of. A little bit of a wow here. This has to come up, we have to reinforce it, but all in good time. Right now, we've got this line coming straight through. We haven't cut the door out yet, top or bottom. It's getting close, but I want to get this installed, reinforce this while it's all connected. Then we'll make our cut and open everything up. So this is the driver's side. Passenger side. Okay, I want kind of a soft radius. I don't want a sharp radius here. So I backed off the top area and just give it a nice little bend. It should be good right there. So get the legs bent. I have to taper these flanges because it does sit a bit of an angle, and we have to create some flanges down below as well as on top so we can join it up with the drip rail as well as the bottom section to straighten out that feature line that goes from front to back along the bottom. Don't need that anymore. And we can take and slide this in right there. 16 gauge is not too forgiving. I think we can get that to fit in quite well. Let's take and trim back this on a taper so that the bottom is wider than the top, and it should be ready to tack in place. You cut off a piece of 16 gauge, it really loves to fly. I think that's going to be it. See, we're running with flat glass, so we don't need any curvature in this area. I need to bend. That one's down. We'll drill through, plug weld, drill through and plug weld. So I have to create a flange here. I don't want to butt weld or edge weld, if you will. And there she be. The only thing we have to do, that's left to do, is bend this top flange, and we get that in. We will have to reinforce the door post because it's only on that original kind of sheet metal. It's a heavy gauge sheet metal, but it won't be enough to create enough rigidity. So we'll have to reinforce that while keeping it thin, and that's going to be in behind the glass. I think we'll go ahead and mock up 2 pieces of masonite, started with cardboard, mock those up, get them in place, make sure everything looks good, make sure we have enough clearance to go down. We still have to do the power window packs. That'll be done later once all the metal work and everything's done. Will this be the charm? Will this be it? I have no idea. I keep fitting it until I'm happy with the result. Okay, we're gonna have to do a little something there. Aside from that, could have warned me. All right, that's looking good. Yeah, not really. It's stuck. There we go. I need to bend this a little bit. See, this post is solid. It's tied in to the top rail. It's tied into that reinforcement post that we created here earlier. So this is not going anywhere. And with this tied in this way, it's definitely not going anywhere. Okay. One more adjustment, I promise. That's it. It's actually right on. Right there. These angles are actually bent to conform to this opening. So we are set. And around this opening, on this flange, we're going to create an aluminum trim piece. That's right, from scratch. We're going to form it up, bend it up, and install it. Drill maybe some holes, whatever, to mount it, but that'll kind of finish off around the perimeter. We won't have this raw edge here. But I think that's going to be it. Let me put a few tacks on this, and then we can probably play with some cardboard and make up some openings. Patterns for openings. Okay, so I've been working on one piece. This is going to drop down inside. And I am a little bit short at the front, I think. Yeah, the front corner is missing. So we're going to take and transpose this onto something else. Right there. I wish I could clamp this somehow. Yeah. Let's get the back one in. I'll readjust the front one to make sure it matches up exactly where we need to. This one's not going anywhere. We don't have any wiggle room. We actually have to create a flange around the perimeter of this to basically have a seat for the glass to set into. Because we're not putting it around this perimeter, the outside perimeter. We have to create one more seat inside. And that inner structure we created for the inner panels earlier, they'll have to be installed as well. So there's a number of things going on back there. Okay, first pass, we're just going to do a rough cut. We're not being too fussy. That's good there, actually. If we can go from there to there, connect that, should be it. And the post. Now, we haven't cut the door yet, as you can see. Just want to show you guys how it's all going to come together. Yeah. Guys and gals. Going to add 1/4 inch. Put that up there so it hits me in the head. And we can go ahead and fit this. Wow, look at that. You see, we can't put it in at this size because it has to be just a tad smaller than the opening. Fun times, cutting out cardboard templates. But it all has to be done. It's not like on TV where they, is done in 5 minutes. We're going to tidy this up a little bit. I ran out of pressed paper, so I'm stuck using corrugated. And well, once we get close, we'll get this onto the masonite, and then we'll take and shave the masonite to fit the opening exactly. It's 1/4 inch masonite, 1/4 inch laminated glass, so it will, I don't want to cut off too much. It'll be a direct replacement basically from masonite to glass. So if the masonite fits, and it has to fit from side to side, so we have to make both sides identical. Okay, that's going to be the first piece. And it's right on. Little thing going on there, so I'll have to fix that. That's one piece. Come on. Set that in there. Slide it ahead. It's flush with the front edge of this post. And so just marked out where we're going to cut the bottom and the top. This piece here, it sits inside the door. We need to add a bit of material. I hope that doesn't fall. Yeah, we have to make a little... Yep. Okay. Now, before I can go ahead and do anything with this front template, I need to take and cut this door open, open it, and cut a slot into the end of the door, because this glass can't slide up and down. Otherwise, it has to sit way over here. We have a latching mechanism that we installed from INFINITI in this area, and it's going to interfere. So what we have to do is kick the track a little bit, just a little bit, and have the glass come down on a very slight angle. I'm exaggerating. I'm going to come down on an angle like that. And when it comes up, it'll mate up with that 1/4 inch gap, as well as the front here, the front seal. I'm going to add a little bit more to the front. We need to make an adjustment, unless I do that with a... No, if I hit it with a hammer, it's going to distort this delicate track. It's delicate right now, we have to reinforce it. I mentioned that earlier. So let's leave this for now. We got part of the equation done, but anyway, this is going to be sitting flush to that one with no huge gap here, of course. And they're going to be flat from front to back. And this one will be motorized, that one's going to be fixed, urethaned in place, finished. And it has to be set. This one will be set first, and then we'll bring that one in to this level so that they're both flush. You don't want one sitting a bit higher than the other. It's going to look funny. For the effect I want straight through, we want them both aligned. So I'm going to go ahead, cut this door open, make that adjustment, finalize this template, and put these aside. Next step is to take these doors off and finalize the structures on the inside, get that all welded up. But to take the doors off, it's going to be quite the challenge. And the reason I'm saying that is because somebody tried to take that door off, they're Phillips screws, and they've messed up the sockets really bad. They're a bit of an angle, it's hard to get at them. So we have a tool to do that, but it's a manual one. You have to use a hammer and then basically torque up on it, smack it. It's an impact like a striking screwdriver. You hit it with a hammer and it turns a little bit. It's not enough to break those free. I'm going to show you a tool that a viewer suggested I create. We created it and it works fantastic. I'll show you in a few minutes. So I've gone ahead and reinforced this post here. So basically I took another piece of 16 gauge, bent it in a 90-degree angle, curved it around, brought it in, welded it to the structure that was there. This is really strong now, it's not going anywhere. Now we can go ahead and cut there and there, as well as a horizontal here, and get this door to open. I hope, unless something else got welded somewhere I can't see. But it should be the only two cuts we have to do. The door will swing open, once we unlatch it, of course, and then we can go ahead, make that adjustment, and get this template for the glass established. Then we can go ahead and pull this door off. Let's see if she opens. Uh-oh. She opens. A little bit of a flanger sticking up. I have to adjust that now, kind of bent it outward, but we'll take care of all that. And this here, we have to cut that off and basically finalize the top of that door so it slips in nice underneath that flange. For us to make all this work, we have to make that little tweak here, but it's going to work out quite nice. Oh! Now there's not going to be a big hole here. We have to take and finish the jambs. Basically cap off the old latch area, cut it out, and finish up the underside of that area. This is all nicely welded in, as you can see. Try and zoom the camera in. A little more finishing to do because this was welded in place and it's a little tricky to get in there. So we'll metal finish that, clean it up. What I want to do is cut the back of this out, just a slot here, to allow the glass to come up past. Because with the 1/4 inch there, and a felt here, we should be right on to where it has to be. If anything, we'll get a big hammer and just make a slight adjustment to make sure that everything aligns. It's kind of hard to foresee every little detail, so sometimes you might have to tweak something as you're going along. Not too bad. We'll make that adjustment there. Fix that up. Yeah, I could have used a smaller hammer, but this was close. We're going to open that gap up just a bit because that's only 1/8 and we need about 3/16. So that's, you know, those are the details. Right now we're about 50,000 feet, kind of dialing things in, getting closer and closer. Then we'll go through and finalize all this stuff. If you spend an hour, 2 hours detailing this and say, oh, shoot, we should have adjusted this. You have to go back, undo what you did. You know, it's counterproductive. But now, as you can see, we can remove this. Don't need that, because what I need to do is scribe. Let's see. Okay, this is good here, actually. So we're going to add to the back of the door. Oh, don't fall down. That's going to be good. I wish I could clamp this. So we need to add, what is that? 3/4 of an inch back there, 1.25 inches there. All right, here we go again. New template. And now we have to scribe it to the door. If I let the front go, it's going to fall. If I let the back go, it's going to fall. And I think we got to come back a little bit more. Sit right there. Last time, I promise. We keep trying it until it fits, and that fits. See, I can't move over far enough. That gap looks close for me right now. We'll finalize all this once we get the mechanism inside the door. Until then, we could put some masking tape on this. I don't know. I think this is a time where we can take these doors off. See, if you're noticing that little thing going on here, this needs to be reinforced. That can't be left like that. But until we test the window out, I'm not going to reinforce that, because if I put a reinforcement in a particular spot and the bumps with the glass, that's not going to be good. So we'll get the window template moving up and down, then we'll finalize that. All part of the process. All right, let's open the door. Now I'll show you the secret weapon. All right guys, so I mentioned we had to create a special tool to remove these fasteners that hold these hinges to the car, because there's no way in the world. We lubricated them, all that stuff, and they just won't budge. They're really rusted in there really well. So normally we use this thing, it's called an impact driver. So you basically set the direction you want it to turn in, smack the end, use your hand and rotate it. Well, can't get in there very well. It's a bit of an angle and you can't apply enough force with just your hand. So a YouTube viewer suggested we use an air chisel with an adapted handle to remove those screws. I tried one, it's incredible. If you use an impact wrench or a ratchet, it's just gonna buzz the end of that socket out. You're not gonna get anywhere. It's gonna be a nightmare. And there's 4 at the top, 4 at the bottom, so 8 times a nightmare. This here is incredible. We tried it on the passenger side, even with the end chewed out, really carefully, we're able to undo those screws and back them out. So I'll show you how it works. Okay, so you get these 4 screws here. These aren't too bad, but I still can't budge them even the way they are. Then we have 2 in behind the door. The door won't open any further than this. It's really tricky to get in there. So what I'm gonna do is, well, I'll show you on these screws. Hopefully you guys can see. Okay, we're gonna line ourselves up. Oops, I gotta get a good angle of approach here. And I'm gonna basically apply the impact and rotate the handle. And there's one. If there's no stinking way you can undo them any other way. Even heat. These 2 are in the post. You can't heat them. There we go. That's a little bit tougher. There we go. So there we are. That's how easy it is. And the key is the impact. If you just try turning it, forget about it. So as you can see on the passenger side, these here, somebody's been beating on this already. Maybe got ticked off. They couldn't undo these. The sockets are actually stripped to the point it's almost a square. Now I did try this one. Haven't done that one yet, but this one here, I got it to turn with that impact driver and that socket in that condition. So Bill, thanks so much. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull these doors off so we can take them, weld up all the structures, finalize all that stuff. The other thing I'm gonna do is add these door stops that the INFINITI had. Passenger side, the original one's missing. Who knows where it went to? I don't have another one. Instead of finding one, I'm gonna use these and basically cut a square hole in the end of the door by the post, locate this, and mount this here to the post. And that's what's going to control these doors from over swinging. This stop is installed on this door, but as you can hear, it sounds pretty terrible. I'm not going to use it. All the rubbers have crystallized. So get rid of that, install this. And the other thing we got to do is cut the holes out for the wiring harnesses, the power windows, locks, all that fun stuff. So a lot of work left to do. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Bill, thanks so much for all the help. Really appreciate it. Catch you guys in the next one.